From the docks aboard Siren to the mighty, mighty Atlas, to the backyard of our tiny homestead that we've been working our tails off on, this team's bringing you a new project, and we're pretty excited about it, and we're excited that you're here. Welcome at Alexandria. Hey there, my name is Janae, and I am just half of the team that you'll be seeing on this channel, which is Todd, my husband. And I think most people know us from YouTube from our other channel, which is Salt and Siren, where we took a boat from Chicago down part of the loop, the Great Loop, down to Florida, of which our boat is still residing. And after that, we took on a military truck project, of which we're still working on. We've gotten a little bit sidetracked with having to move and having a small homestead, and we've been putting all of our effort into that. But now we've taken on a new project, and it's an interesting one that I think might fascinate some people, and we thought it would be good to share. Plus, we love to document our projects. I thought first, before I tell you what we're going to use this property for, it would be proper to show you an actual tour of the space and what we're starting with. And then I'll kind of tell you a little bit more about like how this came to be. So let's do the fun part first. Let's take a look at what we're starting with. So now that you have seen the actual space, it's kind of exciting. It's a very big space, around 24,000 square feet. It has 8 HVAC systems, not HVAC systems. My husband hates that. He's an engineer. He likes the whole words, all the words. So it has 8 HVAC systems. It was built in 1901. It had a fire in 1902, and then it reopened in 1903. The stained glass windows that you saw in the space are original, and have been since refurbished and what have you. Pieces have been replaced and what have you, but they are the original windows. So that's really exciting. It's pretty historical. I had a group from Wisconsin who does a lot of this artistry in theaters and historic churches and things like that. And they said, we don't usually see glass this old, especially the Kokomo Amber, which Kokomo is right up the road from where this church is, or the opalescence, like you can't even buy that anymore. So it was kind of special to have them come and check it out in person and walk me through that. We kind of just stumbled into this property. The long and short of it is we weren't looking for this kind of property at all. We were actually looking more for acreage and more of a farm type property. We had placed offers on a couple of them and they kind of fell through. And every time that I went onto these properties, I got this notion of like, I need to create a spiritual space on this property, like a tiny church. So other people could use it if we wanted to turn it into a commercial kind of property, or I could just use it. Really, selfishly, I wanted to use it. And so since none of those properties worked out, now I kind of understand, like, it's really interesting that God didn't want me to buy a little church for myself. He wanted me to buy a big church for everyone. And so I find that kind of interesting. This church wasn't listed on the normal kind of MLS. It was very much an HGTV moment. You know, like when you watched HGTV at one point, those are the dogs. If we have to wait for the dogs, we'll never get through this. So let's just go with it. Where you watch those shows and you're like, they're like, oh, we just stumbled onto this property and it just was magic and it just happened. And you just kind of roll your eyes like that doesn't happen to anybody. Like, I don't know who you're fooling. And then I realized, like, sometimes it does. It actually happened to me. I'm one of those people. This church was listed on a land website. And it wasn't listed anywhere else. And we thought, and to be completely transparent, because you'll be able to find out once you find out the address, I'm not going to hide this. It was listed for $100,000. And we thought, okay, that's surely a typo. And I called the real estate office and nobody returned my call. And I'm like, I'm driving up there. I'm going to go take and get my eyes on this thing. And then I did, and I'm like, surely there's a name on the building of somebody I can call. And I called him, and his voicemail was full, and I'm like, ah. So I text him, and he texted me back, and then called me and said, I told him I'd love to take a tour of your property. And he said, oh, well, it's my property. You can just send me your driver's license, just text it to me, and then I'll give you the code to get in. I was like, well, okay then. So I gave him my license, and then I just decided to go in and check it out on my own. And I took a video of it so I could show it to Todd. When I walked into the sanctuary of that space, yes, it's very like awestruck. Like it's kind of breathtaking when you walk in. It's even obviously better in person. I do want you to hear the acoustics in this room. I don't have the best singing voice. I have the novelty singing voice, but I'll do what I can. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Isn't that amazing? So exciting. But I knew finally, like, I finally got, like, this isn't going to be for me. Like, this is not a mission for me. And I'm so used to so many things in the past where I've been the creator and I've been the pushing and I've been the, like, you know, forcing kind of things to happen. And I just knew that this was like a mission from God. this is nothing that I would take on, even with the knowledge of my husband and him being an engineer in the commercial and industrial space. Like, I just way over my skis, way over my skis. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. And so I would never have taken this on had I not had the CEO, the big guy upstairs, telling me, like, you're not going to really have a say in this. Like, this is what I've been wanting you to do. This is what I've been preparing you for. And I went, okay, who am I to disobey? So we went through some negotiation process. We actually got the building for cheaper just because the power wasn't on and there's some mold remediating that has to be done and what have you. So we got this building for a steal of $75,000, and we went through with the deal. So that's how the building came to be. And I guess the next question for most people is like, what are you going to do with it? A lot of you have slid into my DMs or in the comments of videos I posted, like, what are you doing with it? What are you doing? There's been guesses. So I guess I'll tell you the name first, and then I'll explain a little bit why, and I haven't been ready to share, because even up until like a week ago, this idea of like what it's going to be has kind of evolved. It started out as we wanted to make it solely a wedding venue, but I have spent my lifetime putting on events, creating events, and what have you. This will be an all events kind of space. We really want to give a piece of this back to the community. It left a huge hole in the community when the church left. So I want them to have some of their space back. The name will be Anthology. And if you know anything about anthologies, you know that they're a collection of music and poetry and art and all things that encompass my life, because I come from more of an artist background. So many stories have happened in this building. So many stories will be yet to be told and will start in this building. And so much beautiful art will be made here or taught here. And so we thought Anthology was the perfect name for it. So yeah, Anthology at Alexandria. So we thank you for joining us and taking a look at the space and what we're starting with. This is a very big undertaking. We're just crazy enough to do it. This might be our last project, which is kind of sad in some ways, but it's such a big project. So I hope that you subscribe and want to join us, because I know we're going to ask for input. For couples who are looking for such a beautiful kind of, faith-infused, moody, intimate, super romantic space to get married in. That's coming down the pipeline. That's going to be a couple years, but it's coming down the pipeline. And we would love to have you and take care of every one of your little whims and desires here. So that's what we're going for right now. And I hope that you enjoy the process with us, because we're going to need some cheerleaders. We're going to need you. We're going to need all of you to rally behind us and send us your virtual high fives. So that's where we're at. And I guess we'll see you next time. Here we go.